Hong Kong Diploma of Secondary Education 2013, English Language Paper 3, Listening and Integrated Skills. Instructions to candidates. You should have on your desk a Part A question-answer book, a Part B1 data file with a Part B1 question-answer book inserted and a Part B2 data file with a Part B2 question-answer book inserted. Do not open them until you are told to do so. I repeat, do not open the question-answer books or the data files until you are told to do so. Now write your candidate number in the space provided on page 1 of your Part A question-answer book. Now look at the Part A question-answer book. Check that the Part A question-answer book has no missing pages. Look for the words End of Part A. Now go on to Part B on the last page. Now stick your barcode labels in the spaces provided on pages 1 and 3. Close your Part A question-answer book when you have finished. Now look at your Part B1 data file. Take out the inserted Part B1 question-answer book. Check that your Part B1 data file has no missing pages. Look for the words, "This is the last page of the Part B1 data file" on the last page. Now look at your Part B1 question-answer book. Check that the Part B1 question-answer book has no missing pages. Look for the words End of Part B1 on the last page. Now stick your barcode label in the space provided on page 1. Now look at your Part B2 data file. Take out the inserted Part B2 question-answer book. Check that the Part B2 data file has no missing pages. Look for the words "This is the last page of the Part B2 data file" on the last page. Now look at your Part B2 question-answer book. Check that the Part B2 question-answer book has no missing pages. Look for the words End of Part B2 on the last page. Now stick your barcode labels in the spaces provided on pages 1 and 3. Close the Part B2 question-answer book when you have finished. You are reminded that all examination materials will be played once only. The test is divided into two parts, Part A and Part B. You should use a pencil to answer all questions in Part A. For Part B, you can use a pen or a pencil. Put up your hand now if you have any difficulties. It is not possible to handle complaints after you have taken the test. The test is about to begin. Keep your earphones on until you are told to take them off. Open your Part A question answer book at page 2. Part A. Situation. The Airport Authority wants to improve the facilities and the environment for travellers at Hong Kong Airport. You are Chris Wong. You are assisting the Public Relations team to conduct research on travellers' opinions of the airport. In Part A, you will have a total of 4 tasks to do. Follow the instructions in the question-answer book and in the recording to complete the tasks. You will find all the information you need in the question-answer book and the recording. You now have 2 minutes to familiarise yourself with tasks 1 to 4. Task 1. The research team leader, Linda Lee, is interviewing a traveller in the airport departure hall. She has asked you to help fill in the interview form below. Write the information in the spaces according to the traveller's answers. One space has been filled in for you as an example. You now have 30 seconds to study the task. At the end of the task, you will have 1 minute to tidy up your answers.
Excuse me, my name's Linda Lee and I work for the Airport Authority's Research Division. We're trying to find out what travellers think of the facilities here. Would you mind if I asked you a few questions?
Not at all. My flight's been delayed several hours, so I have all the time in the world.
You look very smartly dressed. Am I right in thinking you're on a work-related trip?
Well, thanks, but no, I'm not. I usually dress smartly because it gives you a better chance of being upgraded to business or first class if the plane is overbooked.
Clever. I've never thought of that. So you're heading off for a nice holiday somewhere.
I wish I were. Unfortunately, my mother, she lives in the UK, has been taken ill, so I'm going home to see her.
Oh, I'm very sorry to hear that. So you know what to tick there, Chris? Well, I guess you've already answered my second question, which is about the length of your flight. London is quite a distance, isn't it?
You can say that again, though I still think doing the trip in 13 hours is something of a miracle.
And how often do you fly each year? Is it just once or twice?
Oh no, I fly way more than that. I have to do a lot of travelling for work, so I reckon probably about 10 to 12 trips a year.
Wow, up to a dozen trips a year? That's a lot. And do you fly to the UK often?
Not really. This is the first time in years, actually. I can't bear the weather, you know. I prefer Thailand for my holidays, so I fly to Bangkok several times a year. Bangkok's so close. I also go to Singapore for business quite frequently, and as my daughter's studying in Australia, I fly to Sydney quite often. That's S-Y, not S-I. You spelt it wrong.
Oh, Chris, just copy it from the flight information up there. Now, what do you most like about the environment of this airport? I mean, the layout, the design, that kind of thing.
Well, firstly, I really appreciate the daylight.
Daylight?
Yes, so many airports are all closed in and gloomy. They make you feel like you're in a plane already. But all these windows, they make it seem as if you're outside. It's very thoughtful of the designers. Another thing I like is that there's plenty of lounge space.
What do you mean by lounge space?
Well, take the seats we're sitting on in this lounge, for example. There's a big space between each row. Some airports cram all the passengers together while they're waiting, so they're all hot and bothered before they even get on the plane.
That's a good point.
And a third thing I like is the moving walkways. Airports are getting bigger and bigger, but not all of them have moving walkways. Sometimes you have to walk for miles to get to the boarding gate or the immigration desk.
I know what you mean. London Airport is especially bad. Let me ask you about the things you don't like now. What are the things that you think could be improved?
Well, I have to say the shops are often overcrowded. There are plenty of them, but really not enough space to move around them comfortably. Another thing is, there's no post office in the transit lounge. I've got a whole bunch of cheques I need to send here and nowhere to post them.
That's a nuisance. We'll have to do something about that.
Oh, and I suppose one more thing is the trolleys are too small.
That's TROLLEY, Chris.
I don't mean the trolleys in the check-in hall. I mean the transit lounge ones.
You'd better specify that, Chris. He means only the transit lounge trolleys. OK, finally, what I'd like to do is ask you to compare Hong Kong with Singapore Airport, which is one you say you go to quite often. So would you say Singapore Airport is better, worse, or about the same as regards facilities?
I'm afraid I'd have to say I like Singapore Airport more. Yeah, it still has the edge over everywhere else.
And what is it that makes it superior to Hong Kong? Anything in particular?
Well, for one thing, it has more greenery. You know, potted palms, flowers. There's even a garden. Yeah, more greenery.
Right, more greenery.
And another thing is, it has a movie theatre. You know, a cinema where you can watch free movies.
Wow, that's great. Well, thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
My pleasure.
And I hope you can find something to occupy yourself for the next few hours. In the meantime, put your business card in our lucky draw hat. You could at least win some DVDs for yourself.
That's the end of Task 1. You now have 1 minute to tidy up your answers. Task 2. Linda is now interviewing another traveller about what facilities or features would be important in a new lounge area that is being planned at the airport. Listen to the traveller's answers and rank the facilities in order of how important she thinks they are. Then note down her reasons. And finally, write the letter for the facility, feature, in the correct boxes 1 to 6 on page 5. You now have 30 seconds to study the task. At the end of the task, you'll have 1 minute to tidy up your answers.
Excuse me, madam. My name's Linda Lee and I work for the Airport Authority. Are you waiting for the London flight?
Yeah, it's been delayed and I have no idea how to fill the time.
Well, perhaps you could spare a few moments to look at this plan for a new lounge area which we're intending to build. We'd really appreciate your comments on it. We'll be including all the facilities and features on this list and would like you first of all to rank them in order of how important you think they are.
OK, let's have a look at them. Well...
I notice you have a coffee there. Would you say that a coffee shop was the most important thing to have in the lounge?
Well, it certainly helps, especially when you have to wait all day for your plane. But I'd say it was of average importance, really.
So you'd put it in the middle of the scale?
Sure. As far as I'm concerned, toilets are the main requirement. I always get nervous before a flight and need to, you know.
So what do you think is the least important facility?
I guess it has to be the children's play area. No, wait a minute. If you've got kids, I suppose you'd really appreciate something like that. Let's say the internet corner. Yeah, the computer nerds meeting point. Or you can tell I'm not an online sort of person.
But you'd rate the children's play area as a better facility to have than a coffee shop, would you?
Oh no, I prefer coffee to kids. At least with a coffee you can chuck it away if you don't like it. I'm only joking.
So that leaves greenery as number 2. I mean plants. You rate that very highly, do you?
Yes, I suppose I do.
Do you have any particular reason for that?
Yes, I think greenery, or plants, whatever you want to call it, adds colour and freshness to a lounge.
It adds colour and freshness. Make a note of that, Chris. And what about toilets? Why did you put them at the top of your scale?
Because the toilets on the plane are often cramped and smelly.
Not on every airline, surely. Most toilets on airplanes are cramped, but they're seldom smelly.
Well, I always travel cheap, so I don't expect the best.
Perhaps you shouldn't drink so much coffee before you get on.
Having coffee shops is a must, though. Everyone knows the coffee on planes tastes bad, and it's always lukewarm. You know, never hot enough.
That's not always true.
It is. Show me an airline where the coffee isn't rubbish.
All right, let's move on to the internet corner. And let's try not to be rude about people who love computers.
Well, the reason I don't think it's necessary is that these days, most people use their own devices.
You mean their own devices like smartphones and tablets?
Yeah, everyone seems to have them, and they're all connected to the internet.
OK, good reason. Now, how about this last one here? The children's play area. Why did you put it second from bottom on the scale?
I guess because there are good and bad reasons for having one. If you're a parent, the good reason is a play area helps kids use up their energy. Younger kids especially have so much energy, and it's better to use up some of it before they get on the plane. A reason not to have a play area is that, of course, kids can be noisy, and the last thing other passengers want is a bunch of noisy kids playing while they're waiting to get on the plane. It just adds to the tension.
OK, that's really helpful. Now, there's just one more thing I'd like you to look at before we let you go. This is a floor plan of the new lounge area. Now, thinking about what you've said already, where would you position the plants, the ferns, palms and things?
Oh, without a doubt, in the middle. It would create a sort of avenue effect. Yeah, right down the centre there.
OK. Chris, just write the letter A there. And I guess you'd put the toilets here, yes?
Sure, right by the gate. They should be the closest thing to the gate, in fact.
There we go. And the coffee shop, where would you put that?
Again, very close to the gate. Somewhere convenient like there, at the end of the walkway, and with a window so you can see the view while you're drinking.
Let Chris just make a note of that.
And what's this? Ah, sleeper chairs. You haven't mentioned those before.
They're a new kind of reclining chair, which allows you to sleep if you have a long wait ahead or you're transferring from another long flight.
I see, a sort of first-class lounge seat. Well, I think the obvious place would be on the other side of the plants from the gate. You don't really want people staring at you sleeping while they're waiting. You've got lots of privacy here and a window to look through too.
Good points. And now the last two things. I'm afraid the internet corner has already been confirmed as part of the plan. So, would you put it in the actual corner on the bottom to the right there?
No, I think that space would be better reserved for the play area. It's away from where most of the passengers sit, so they wouldn't be disturbed by the noise. The computer nerds can take the area next to it at the foot of the plan. Serves them right.
Well, thank you so much. It's been fun talking to you, and I hope you find something to occupy yourself while you wait for your flight.
No problem. I guess I'll just go and have another coffee.
Oh, one more thing. Put your business card or your name and address in our lucky draw hat, and you could win a prize worth up to $2,000.
OK, here goes.
That's the end of task 2. You now have 1 minute to tidy up your answers. Task 3. Linda has now invited a traveller to try some of the items available from the restaurants and coffee shops at the airport. Put a tick if the traveller likes the food, a cross if he doesn't, or a question mark if he's not sure. The items may not be mentioned in the same order as they appear in the question-answer book. One space has been filled in for you as an example. You now have 30 seconds to study the task. At the end of the task, you will have 1 minute to tidy up your answers.
Hello, we're from the Airport Authority and we're wondering if you'd like to try some of the food and drink items available at our various restaurant outlets.
Sure, I was just thinking how hungry I was.
OK, let's start with the hot dog then. Take a bite of that. It's from Hot Dog Express.
Well, I'm not a big hot dog fan, but I'll give it a go. No, I can't say this one persuades me either. No, that's not for me. It's too salty.
Oh, make a note of that, Chris. Too salty. All right, perhaps you should choose something you like the look of.
Well, that tortilla looks pretty good. I love Mexican food usually. That's really good, and it's got loads in it.
What's so special about it?
Well, it's spicy, really hot, and I don't mean heat hot. And the other thing is, it's really filling, you know, tortillas fill you up, not like some other snacks which just leave you feeling hungry.
OK, that's from Viva Tortilla, which has only recently opened. Now, what about these chicken skewers from the food court? How do you feel about those?
Let me just take one there. Nice sauce. That's tasty. Yeah, finger-licking good, as they say.
Just write down tasty sauce, Chris.
Chicken's a bit stringy, though. Oh, very stringy. I could floss my teeth with that.
Ooh, what a horrible idea. Stringy is just G-Y, Chris, not G-E-Y. Oh, and I guess you should put a question mark in the second column. I'll have a word with the manager of the Satay House. In the meantime, perhaps you'd like to wash that down with a sip of our tropical smoothie from the Waikiki Bar.
Lovely. That hit the spot. It's very cool. Icy cool, in fact, and refreshing. Yeah, it really makes you feel refreshed.
Oh, you've missed out on the sushi.
Actually, I was trying to avoid that. Japanese isn't my favourite cuisine. I'll have a go, though. Sorry. Do you have a napkin? Oh, that's not for me. It's much too fishy.
Well, it is raw fish.
Yes, I know. But there's fish, which I usually like, especially with chips. Then there's, well, fishy, which I don't.
How about a mouthful of cupcake to take the taste away?
I won't say no.
Well?
Just a minute. Mouthful. Well, I can't decide, really. It's light, not at all heavy, which is a good thing, but otherwise a bit tasteless. Yeah, Tasteless is the word I'd use.
Make a note of both of those, Chris.
I can't make up my mind if I like it or not.
Well, thanks ever so much for helping us with the survey. Now, if you'd like to put your business card into our lucky draw hat...
That's the end of Task 3. You now have 1 minute to tidy up your answers. Task 4. You are now attending a meeting of the research team with Linda and 2 other researchers called Simon and Sandy, who are reporting on the survey results. Based on what you hear in the conversation between Linda and the researchers, fill in the spaces in the report below with details of the services and recommendations for improvements. Remember to pay attention to spelling and grammar. 1 space has been filled in for you as an example. You now have 1 minute to study the task. At the end of the task, you will have 2 minutes to tidy up your answers.
All right, Chris, I've completed the framework of the report for you. You just have to fill in the details and remember to pay attention to grammar and spelling when you're doing that. Simon has counted all our responses and come up with some percentage figures along with travellers' comments. So, how did the travellers rate our eating establishment, Simon?
Pretty well, actually. About 60% said they found the services impressive.
Well, it's always good to impress people.
Then 15% weren't happy with the range.
50%?
No, 15. And 25% hadn't used any restaurants, so they couldn't say which ones they preferred.
OK, don't bother writing about the 15%, Chris. We'll let people work that out for themselves. All right, let's move on to suggestions. How do people think our food choices can be improved?
Well, first off, we should reduce the number of fast food outlets.
Less in the way of hamburgers, hot dogs, fried chicken and other salty snacks. Yes, I have to agree. We do need to reduce them. There's too much emphasis on fast food. Go on.
Another request was to increase medium-priced restaurants. Either you have very cheap fast food outlets or upmarket eateries that are too pricey. Increasing medium-priced restaurants would help balance things out.
Fair enough. That's worth noting down.
Finally, many felt we should provide a greater variety of food.
And what did they mean by greater variety?
Well, different cuisines, really. Many wanted Japanese food. There is some available, but not really high-quality stuff. There were also a lot of requests for Indian food, and not just from Indians. The Japanese and the Singaporeans love curry, and so do many Westerners.
Any other requests?
Well, there were a few for Middle Eastern food, things like kebabs and falafels. Middle Eastern food has a whole range of possibilities.
Interesting. OK, let's move on to other facilities now. What sort of requests did the travellers make, Sandy?
Well, several people felt there should be more places of worship.
Places of worship? You mean like chapels, that sort of thing? We already have one of those.
Yes, but we don't have a Muslim prayer room, for example.
That's a bit of an oversight, really, isn't it? Write it down, Chris. You can spell Muslim either M-U-S-L-I-M or M-O-S-L-E-M. Your choice. Oh, and prayer is spelt P-R-A-Y-E-R. Got that? Any more places of worship to add, Sandy?
Well, I'm not sure if this counts, but someone suggested a meditation room.
I like that idea. Meditation's a good thing to do before you get on a plane. And it's not only Buddhists who like to do it. It's definitely worth including in the report.
There were also a number of requests for more entertainment facilities.
Such as?
Well, I'm not sure if everyone would count this as an entertainment facility, but more than one person suggested a games centre.
I don't think the airport authority would be keen to give space to a games centre, but I guess we ought to make a note of it.
Something they might be more happy to go for is an art gallery. Many travellers said they'd seen them in other airports and thought it was a great idea.
Yes, I can see why. There's something very relaxing about art galleries. OK, to sum up then, travellers at the airport felt that the facilities provided were mostly satisfactory.
I'd say that was about right, yes.
So let's increase someone's level of satisfaction even more. Would you like to pull the name out of the lucky draw hat, Sandy?
OK, sure. Oh, it's Mr. Pott of Jesterville, USA.
His first name's not Jack by any chance, is it?
That's right. How did you know that?
That is the end of Task 4. You now have 2 minutes to complete your answers to Task 4 and to tidy up all your other answers. Part B. Open your data file at page 2. Situation. You are Marty Poon. You work for a magazine called Asia Life. You are an assistant to Casey Wong, the editor in charge of the magazine. You will listen to a recording of a podcast called Travel Report. In the podcast, you will hear an interview with Adrian Lim and Kelly Johnson. Before the recording is played, you will have 5 minutes to study the question-answer book and the data file for Part B1 and the question-answer book and the data file for Part B2. Remember, you must choose to do the tasks in either Part B1 or Part B2. Do not attempt both Parts B1 and B2. Complete the tasks by following the instructions in the question-answer book that you choose and on the recording. You will find all the information you need in the question-answer book and data file that you choose and on the recording. As you listen, you can make notes on page 3 of the data file. You now have 5 minutes to familiarise yourself with the Part B question-answer book and the data file. The recording is about to begin. Turn to page 3 of the data file.
Welcome everyone to Travel Report. This is Scott Lamb bringing you this week's edition. Let's welcome our guests for this week's podcast first of all. I'm very pleased to have here in the pod tonight Adrian Lim.
Good evening.
Adrian, you're a travel agent specialising in unusual holidays. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. And we also have with us Dr. Kelly Johnson.
Evening.
Now, Kelly, you've been on the programme lots of times before, but just for those who don't know, you're a lecturer in travel and tourism.
Yeah, that's right.
OK, let's begin this week then with the question, why do people travel? Adrian.
Well, I suppose people go on holiday and travel for many different reasons.
Such as?
Well, a recent survey showed that the most popular reasons people gave for going on holiday and traveling are wanting to challenge themselves and have fun.
Yeah, that's what I would have guessed people would say. Sometimes we forget that having fun is as important as anything else.
Yeah, but people gave other reasons in the survey. They want to do other things. That's why they travel, like, say, learn a language. That's another reason to travel.
Like me, I guess. I went to Japan after university to learn more Japanese.
Oh, so did I. I'm not sure how much Japanese I learnt, though.
Right. So that's a few reasons anyway. We travel to challenge ourselves, have fun, or learn a language. So I suppose the reasons why people travel haven't changed much. But other aspects of travel maybe have.
That's right.
So, what was different about travel, international travel I mean, in the past then? Say, in the 1920s. Kelly?
Well, the main differences about present-day travel compared to the 1920s, I suppose, if we're talking about international travel, are things like the transport, how people travelled, and the length of time. I mean, how long it took.
What was the transport? By ship or train or...
Yeah, international travel meant people travelled by ship or by train.
Yeah, I was reading about this. It took a long time, so that's why holidays were longer. Like, it could take 6 weeks to travel by ship from London to Hong Kong for tourists.
6 weeks? Wow! Can you imagine? Nowadays, it's really common for lots of people from all countries to go abroad on holiday. Was this always the case, or is this a recent phenomenon? I mean, was international travel an unusual holiday in itself in the past?
Well, from my own research into this, yes, you're right. It was only the very rich people. Travel was very expensive, and, well, with the transport and time, only rich people could do it.
So all of this holidays abroad is a new thing then?
Well, yes, it's really been in the last 30 years that it's really taken off.
So what's the most popular places to visit nowadays? Maybe Adrian, you'd be the person to ask.
Right. I've got some statistics here. Let me see. Last year, the most popular place to visit was India. 76 million people went there. That's certainly different from 20 years ago.
India. OK. Which other countries are popular?
Well, the USA has lots of visitors. 59 million went there last year.
Wow, 59 million. That's a lot.
Yes, that's only slightly more than China. There were 55 million visitors.
55 million. I read, or maybe someone told me, that Spain is popular too. Is that right?
Yeah, Spain's still really popular. It had about 52 million visitors last year, I think.
Well, I suppose all that tells us that more and more people are travelling. But I suppose the next thing is, what are they doing when they travel?
Well, one thing I've noticed is that our customers want to stay in different places, like these new types of unusual hotels.
Oh, that's interesting. Can you give us an example of one of these unusual hotels?
Well, the ice hotels, they're popular.
Ice hotels. I've heard of them. Is that like a hotel made of ice?
Exactly. Everything is made of ice. The rooms, the beds, tables, chairs, everything. Our customers really love them.
I've always wondered, are they cold?
No, they aren't cold, but they are in cold countries.
I think I'd like to try staying in one. Any more unusual hotels?
Oh, I know. There's a prison hotel in Australia. I stayed in it last year.
A prison hotel? I thought you only stayed in a prison if you'd done something wrong.
Well, it's not any old prison. In Australia, some old prisons have closed and then they've turned them into hotels.
Really?
Yeah, you can sleep in a cell like a prisoner, but...
What, in a cell? You mean the hotel guests are locked up for the night in a prison cell?
No, you're not locked up. You sleep in a cell, but, I mean, you do have a key for your room. It's really good fun.
I'll have to take your word on that one, I think, Kelly. Well, let's move swiftly on to maybe a more serious topic. It certainly seems that more people are travelling, but what are the effects on the countries they visit? What about the local people? I mean, are there any negative effects from tourism?
Well, yes, of course, there are always negative effects. Some studies show that increased tourism brings increased crime. Local people carrying out crimes against tourists.
What kind of crimes? Serious or...
Things like stealing cameras or iPhones from tourists is very common. And they're relatively easy to steal. But I think it's important to emphasise that millions of tourists travel safely every year.
Yes, I tend to agree. There are some very positive effects of tourism as well.
Such as?
Well, of course, tourism brings in money.
Yes, if we think about the number of people who are traveling, lots more money is going to countries, and it comes from tourists.
But what are the effects of money?
Well, we can see the effects of money in countries which can start to develop their infrastructure. And it's through...
Sorry, what do you mean by developing an infrastructure in this context?
Well, like building good roads and hospitals. Everyone benefits.
Right. Building good roads and hospitals is obviously important, but...
Yes, and another positive effect of tourism is that countries maintain their traditions. Some countries have kept up some of their customs because it brings in the tourists.
Yeah, I think this can be true. Like in Thailand, before international tourism, some of the traditional dances, like the Nora dance.
The what dance?
The Nora dance. The name doesn't really matter. It's a traditional dance and it had almost totally disappeared by the 1980s. But it's so spectacular that hotels started putting it on for all the tourists. And now there are Nora dance festivals and competitions all over Thailand.
Right, well, that's a positive way to end the programme. I'd like to say a big thank you to our guests, Kelly and Adrian, this week, and we'll see you all next week. Bye.
That is the end of the listening component of this test. You will have 1 hour and 15 minutes to complete the written tasks in either Part B1 or Part B2. An announcement will be made when time is up. Take off your earphones now